It's estimated that every minute, over 400 hours of video are uploaded to the internet and instantly shared with the world.
Oh, no! Look at that!
With so many cameras now recording our daily lives, it's no surprise that members of the public are today capturing some of the most incredible footage ever seen. Today, devices like this mean that we're all potentially reporters, able to gather news from the four corners of the globe in an instant. The most unbelievable moments ever recorded, and to hear their stories.
Oh, my God. Are you kidding me?
So, over the next hour, prepare for some extraordinary scenes captured by ordinary people. These are the moments you'd never believe if they weren't caught on camera.
Oh, my gosh.
As we all know, the internet is full of clips of entertaining animals and of amazing escapes. So it's no surprise that when a story comes along that puts the two subjects together, it goes viral within minutes. Remarkably, the flying feline manages to cling on using all four paws for a full 3 minutes. Three black bear cubs had become stuck among the rubbish. Thanks to the Schenk's ingenious thinking, they're soon back where they belong, with their mum. Another extraordinary rescue was caught on camera by Vicky Fishlock while working in Kenya.
I am the resident scientist for Amboseli Trust for Elephants. My job is to follow them around and write on a clipboard and just see what they do with their day.
Originally from Cheshire, Vicky has worked alongside these elephants for the past 5 years. But on one apparently ordinary day, she filmed something she would never forget.
I was just about to pack up the car and head out to do my normal field work. And then I got a call from my colleague to say that we'd had a report of a baby elephant stuck in a well. So we went with 2 cars.
With the female calf in serious danger and her mum Zomba distressed and helpless, the team had to act fast.
Zomba didn't have any other elephants around to help her. So sooner or later, that calf would have just struggled and struggled and struggled until she drowned.
Push her, that's it, yes! Yes, go, go, go!
The first job for Vicky was to remove Zomba.
Well, you can't reason with them and say, just stop a minute, we'll help.
Go, 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 forward, forward, forward!
You can see the baby struggling at the bottom. I mean, she'd obviously been struggling for a while at this point.
Go, go, go!
I start shouting at Zomba, the mother, and she mock charges me. So our first strategy was just to rev the engines really loudly, which is not something that we do normally. I remember thinking, I need sounds like a Maasai warrior. I started screaming and I really realised that she didn't like it. You can see her take off with her older calf.
And keep an eye on where the hell she is.
But even with Mum safely out of the way, the team began to realise the true weight of the task ahead. How do you get a baby elephant out of a giant hole?
We all started by trying to lift the calf out. She was just too heavy. So that's when we decided to put the rope on and try and haul her out that way.
We've got the rope on the bumper. We just need to get it under her bum, and I've turned the engine off because her mum is on the other side, so she's crawling that way.
Behind the wheel, Vicky continued to capture the rescue as her colleague struggled to pull the calf from the well.
That roaring, like, she screamed, she's like, Mum! They're calling back and forth, so he's actually trying to turn her around and bring her back to the shallow side because we knew that was the edge we were going to be able to pull her out of. And I was terrified they were going to get caught in the ropes, and then, you know, she's really struggling. He was like, no, 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 stop, 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 come forward, come forward.
Finally, after an exhausting battle against the odds in the grueling African heat, the team's heroic efforts paid off.
There she goes, there she goes.
Careful! Woohoo! She's out, she's out.
Watching his back, it's actually quite emotional. I haven't watched this in such a long time.
With Zomba's baby now free, mother and daughter were set for one of the most moving reunions you will ever see in the animal world.
And then, yeah, Zomba running towards her in this cloud of dust. And she just can't get there fast enough. It's really lovely. When they run like that, they're like clockwork toys. She looks so small. And all that noise, that big roar. My work's always worthwhile, spending time with elephants, but this is really special. Oh, they're so sweet. They're just such good creatures. It couldn't have been more picturesque and beautiful, but the reality is that's where elephants live. You know, that's the drama that makes up Elephant Days, and the family was back together because we helped.
An extraordinary story from the... Let's have our close shaves too, as seen in this next series of very near misses caught on camera. In Prostějov, in the Czech Republic, a crowd watches the demolition of a textile factory. These spectators had a lucky escape after a block of concrete misses their heads by millimeters. A rally in northern Italy. 1600, torpedoing towards them. Miraculously, the two drivers of the mangled car also escaped serious injury. In California's Monterey Bay, two British kayakers are in for the biggest surprise of their lives.
I got him in video. He knocked it over.
With a 40-ton humpback whale almost crash-landing on top of them, Tom Mustill and Charlotte Kinloch had a narrow escape from death. In Cairo, Egypt, this building was evacuated just in time, after residents heard strange noises and noticed the building starting to move. Although many people lost their homes and their possessions, nobody was reported hurt. In May 2013, South African diver Nicholas van Heerden was part of a team charged with the dreadful task of retrieving bodies from a tugboat that had sunk 3 days earlier off the Nigerian coast.
Everyone was quite morbid going into the operation. No one wants to root around a wreck and try to find bodies.
As Nicholas explored the sunken vessel on the seabed, his helmet
start working, you can't see anything, so it was just not a nice experience.
The live pictures were fed back to diving supervisor Colby Werrett, who led the salvage operation from a boat on the surface.
All right, how are you doing, Nico? Just talk to me and I'll help you.
Found a couple of people on the bridge, and then we opened another door, and we found a couple of people in the passage, recovered the bodies to surface, and then we meticulously went through every cabin, every passage, everything, just making sure that we don't leave anyone behind. I went up a set of stairs, which is basically down a set of stairs because the vessel was capsized upside down. And then as I came into a little landing area where there was a couple of doors, and I was just busy getting myself orientated, and then...
What's that? Oh, okay. All right, you found one, yeah? He's alive, he's alive. Okay, keep him there.
He absolutely startled me. I was completely overwhelmed. Completely overwhelmed.
Nicholas's astonishing discovery was the ship's cook, Okene Harrison.
All right.
Unbelievably, the 29-year-old had survived for nearly 3 days underwater in an air pocket in the ship's hull, 30 meters below the surface.
The first thing I thought was it was going to be so difficult getting this guy from where he is now to safety.
Reassure him, give him a thumbs up, and reassure him. Okay, reassure him, keep reassuring him.
It's something that I haven't done before, so I've got zero experience in saving lives or salvaging a person out of a wreck. I could see that he was very disorientated. Because of the high amount of carbon dioxide, he was panting and was struggling to breathe.
The horrific conditions had taken their toll, but the dive team had to proceed with caution or risk putting Okene into even more danger.
You can't just take him out and bring him to the surface because he'll get the bends. Decompression sickness.
In a race against time, Nicholas began to move the oxygen-starved survivor to somewhere he could be treated.
And you listen to me, okay? And breathe comfortably, okay?
Safety was in sight, but the dive team still had the mammoth task of transferring the ship's cook to their underwater decompression chamber.
Doing a very good job, my friend.
Beneath the Atlantic Ocean took nearly 2.5 hours of monumental effort.
How are you in the bell, Harrison? Give me a thumbs up. Good job, my friend. Well done. You're a survivor.
Finding someone stuck in a wreck for 3 days and getting him out alive, it's nothing short of a miracle.
Since this remarkable rescue was caught on camera, Okene Harrison has now left his job as a cook and is training for a new career after being inspired by his ordeal.
He actually came to the town that I stay in and he did a diving course here. If the same thing would have happened to me, the last thing I would have done was try to get back in the water. But he's determined and he wants to become a commercial diver.
The experience they lived through that Coming up, imagine fleeing from this fire Today, many of the stories that bring the news into our homes are not told by clips shot by professional camera crews. Instead, it's often footage taken by the public, not after the event, but as the story unfolds, that brings us even closer to the headlines. Next to actually being there, you won't get nearer to the heart of a dramatic moment than this. McCarran Airport, Las Vegas, and when a British Airways flight bound for London Gatwick catches fire just before takeoff, it was the public bringing the images to our screens. British Airways pilot Chris Henke was later praised for his textbook evacuation of the 170 people on board. In the port of Tianjin, China, 2 huge chemical explosions rocked the city, causing utter devastation. The world might never have witnessed what happened if not for many people across the city who just happened to have pressed record on their smartphones and devices. After a boat carrying refugees sank in the Aegean Sea, Turkish Coast Guards were on the hunt for survivors when they came across this sight. Alone on the water, a woman and her baby. As the rescue unfolds, the mother clings on to her child, before both are finally safe inside the rescue helicopter. In April 2015, a tourist records the terrifying moment a sacred temple in Bhaktapur, Nepal, is destroyed by an earthquake. But this was just the beginning of a story that would send shockwaves around the world. 95 miles east, Annie Tinsley from Devon was trekking on Everest when tremors from the Nepal quake triggered an avalanche on the mountain.
Oh my God! What do we do? What are we doing? What do we do? Just stay down.
was such a rush. It was the adrenaline. Luckily, we were on the other side, so it came down and hit the bottom of the valley before it hit us.
Meanwhile, aerospace consultant Paul Devaney was in a tent at the bottom of base camp, his life in peril.
It was about 11:30 in the morning, and the table started to move sideways. And then the tent started moving fairly violently, and we jumped up and ran outside. The whole glacier, which base camp is sitting on, was moving violently from side to side.
Whoa, 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 inside! Oh, John, keep down, keep down, keep down. Under the table. Under the table, come on, come on, come on, come on. Close the door, close the door. Close the door. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. That's huge. That is huge. He's there, people. I've never seen anything come at us like that before.
When we're waiting for the impact, and, you know, I'm on one side of the tent, and Theo's over on the other side of the tent, crunched down.
With thousands of tons of snow hurtling down Everest, Paul had caught on camera the moment
He's holding the tent up, holding the pole of the tent so that the tent doesn't collapse. Could be massive chunks of ice thundering across camp at us, and it frankly didn't matter if we got out and started running.
Okay.
the shocking footage captured on Everest by Annie, Paul and many others shows the sheer destructive force of the avalanche. Sadly, the earthquake triggered in Nepal claimed the lives of 9,000 people. 19 of those were lost on Everest.
I feel lucky because we were spared this time by simple geography. There was no design in where we put our tents. If we put our camp 50 meters in a different direction, we may not have survived.
A terrifying experience caught on camera, and just one example of the overwhelming power of nature, a force which every year causes carnage across the planet. And yet, amidst the chaos, it seems the human race still has an overwhelming urge to record what's going on around them and to take moving pictures of an experience they one of the driest places on Earth. But in March 2015, when thunderstorms battered the landscape, the equivalent of 7 years' rainfall fell in just 12 hours. These pictures from local residents related disaster in 80 years. 2015 also saw Hurricane Patricia become the most powerful ever recorded in the Western Hemisphere, with winds reaching an unprecedented 200 miles an hour. It started out as a cyclone formed in the eastern Pacific before rapidly intensifying into a Category 5 hurricane, leaving chaos in its wake. Meanwhile, in 2015, California was experiencing some of the most dramatic and devastating wildfires in its history. And when flames began raging 100 miles north of San Francisco, ex-soldier Kim Rin-Geisen instinctively picked up his camera.
As you can see, the fires just got crazy. It was just nuts seeing those fire tornadoes or fire twisters just going across the field. It was pretty crazy. At this point, you know, I would expect that if hell had opened up on Earth, this is what you would be faced with. All the sights, sounds, the heat, the noises that it's making, the panic in the back.
But lying in its destructive path was the small rural community of Anderson Springs, home to artist Julie Wolfe.
We first heard about it when my son drove up the driveway and told us to evacuate. He said, "You need to leave. Put your stuff in your car. Let's get out of here." There's a fire right up the hill. As I drove away from the house, I just went, there won't be anything there.
Only way out to drive through the heart of the inferno.
Fire. Pretty horrifying, like being in an ocean of red embers. And the car heating up so that we couldn't even touch the windows. Fire get up in the end.
And destroyed more than 1,000 homes. 4 weeks back to Anderson Springs.
When I drive, I locate myself by, oh, there's the big oak and there's those 3 pine trees. So all my landmarks are missing. Oh man. So, there's our lack of house. Our house used to be here in the front steps, and we had a deck with a barbecue. Everything's ruined. We put up this tent to try and go through the ashes, and we did for a little while, but it's too overwhelming.
Once crammed full of precious family possessions, Julie's home was built in the 1930s by her grandfather.
It hurts because it was my mother's or father's or their mothers and fathers' stuff, but it was just stuff. We've had complete strangers walk up to us on the street and say, "Here's $100. So our friends have put money in our pocket and said, "Just take it, just take it." And my son is an amazing hero. He got us out of there. He smashed his way through the fire. Even though it's a disaster that's flattened all these homes, the people have pulled together. It's pulled people together. In the town and our village, I see people talking that hadn't talked in years. And
After the break, you might have seen a leaping salmon, but have you ever experienced flying carp?
It got to the point where we better get out of here before we sink the boat.
It's estimated that the modern British motorist now spends the equivalent of 3 years and 4 months of their lives behind the wheel of their car. Indeed, all over the world, there are more cars and more motorists making more journeys than ever. And today, that means millions upon millions of dashboard cameras recording unexpected events which unfold while you're on the road. State Route 163 in San Diego. Daniel Wu's dash cam captures the moment a 50-foot eucalyptus tree crushes his car and his reaction to what just happened. Daryl Peterson's double dash cam filmed an extraordinary and shocking sequence of events. First, he gets rear-ended by a Chevy Silverado, which then shunts his car into the path of an oncoming truck. Incredibly, Daryl suffered no injuries in this accident. Thailand. The meteor, soaring through the sky, was also filmed by lots of other commuters in the region.
excited? Well, this is one good reason. Just take a look at what's coming down the road on this California highway.
Are you kidding me?
This is the moment a student pilot and his instructor are forced to make an unorthodox emergency landing. Helen Dellingpole captured one of the most unusual sights ever seen on a British motorway.
We were on the M5 and suddenly we hit this massive traffic jam.
But what happened next would take Helen and her fellow frustrated drivers completely by surprise.
We just sat there, and after being stuck in this traffic jam for about an hour, my partner David said to me, "I can hear music." So I said, "Where?" And he said, "Just up there." So I grabbed the camera and just sort of wandered up with it, and that's the bit you can see at the beginning. And then you sort of see it all unfold. I was aware of how utterly surreal it was. So I thought, well, I better capture some of that as well. So I turned the camera there and you could see all the people filming it as well. And I thought, I better get the car. So I went like that and you could see that. And then I thought, oh gosh, and there's no traffic. The other is coming the other way at all, completely stopped. So I sort of got a bit of that. From being stuck in this traffic jam for nearly an hour. It was really, really joyful, actually, really joyful.
The string quartet were heading home after playing at a wedding in Devon. But the last thing they expected was an encore in the fast lane of the M5.
It would be lovely to say that we did it to calm everybody down. I think we just thought it would be a fun thing to do.
I think we thought nobody would object because everybody was quite bored and there was nothing to see or do.
Remarkably, this was only the group's second ever performance together.
I'm really glad it was caught on camera, mostly because I don't think people would believe we'd actually done it.
And with the video going viral, the four musicians have certainly made a name for themselves.
I suppose we are now known as the M5 Quartet.
There's no avoiding it.
There is no getting away from it.
Generation of portable cameras are built to record events in all manner of extreme circumstances, meaning that for the first time we're now able to witness some extraordinary encounters and some very deep moments.
Diving for reef fish in Arniston near Cape Town. Johan Potgieter's camera catches the terrifying moment a shark decides to join his dive. Before pursuing him to the surface.
White! That's not pretty white!
Luckily, Johan's friends were on hand to haul him to the safety of their boat. Chris Okamoto was enjoying an idyllic swim with sea lions off the coast of California. Then a female sea lion took a sudden and unexpected dislike to his camera.
I'm John Howder. On it for about 30 years.
At nearly 150 miles long, this tributary of the Illinois River is popular for fishing, and for one specific species with an unusual pattern of behavior.
When we first discovered the jumping carp in the river, we had 3 or 4 on video jumping in front of the camera in the boat, and we thought that was pretty good.
When Asian carp feel threatened, they react by leaping from the water.
Ah, jeez!
Several years after this first encounter, John would again witness the extraordinary sight of the carp in full flight.
Well, I had a friend down from Michigan, and one of his boys was with us, and a couple of my nephews, my son. We were just out kind of on a joyride on the Spoon River. Well, the water was backed up into some drainage ditches, and we just decided we'd turn up one and see what was up there. And next thing you knew, there were fish everywhere. In the video, you can hear a lot of thumping, and that's the fish hitting the boat, and then the other sound is the kids screaming. They didn't quite know what to think of it. It's not something you see every day. And then luckily, my friend had his cell phone that day to get a video. Otherwise, no one would have believed us. It was something we'd never really seen before. Quite that extreme. We knew the jumping fish were in the river.
Oh my God!
You know, you go out fishing, you catch one or two, and just to go out on the river and have that many jump in the boat, it's just crazy.
Coming up, if you're planning to pop the question this year, you'd have to go a long way to beat this.
Recently, Facebook claimed its users generate 8 billion video views a day. Our next story has all the elements which would make it seen and enjoyed by millions. A tale that started out as a simple post on the social network.
Lake, Minnesota, and hovercraft enthusiasts James and Doug Kennison prepare for an afternoon ride. Every weekend, father and son enjoy speeding across the water, but back in the cold winter of 2013, the craft allowed them to attempt a bold rescue.
A friend of mine had posted a comment on a Facebook post on one of the local news channels here in the area. The story was that there was a deer stuck out here on the lake. It was frozen. So after I got tagged in that Facebook post, contacted my dad, and we just kind of said,
legs under and they just took a ride. They just slid across the ice.
Like we were just pulling Bambi across the lake.
For the deer, it wasn't the most dignified way of getting to land, but the alternative was far worse.
Yeah, she's all right, Dad. She'll figure it out. Calm down, girl. Calm down.
For over an hour, father and son worked tirelessly in the freezing conditions.
Whoa, whoa, careful, Dad. Careful, careful.
The Kennisons' impromptu rescue
Having that camera along it's a great tool to capture those moments that could be lost forever.
And later that Facebook page.
The reaction out there that day because we love hovercraft, we love these animals, and yet we had the tool to do it.
For decades, we've been used to helicopters with professional camera crews bringing us amazing aerial shots. But over the last couple of years, the popularity of drones like this has soared to stratospheric proportions. Strict regulations may govern their flight, but when used correctly, all sorts of people are now producing astonishing footage that more than matches the work of the experts.
Drone camera can bring about its own dangers, as this owner found out in Melbourne. It did, however, give us a close-up view of how a wedge-tailed eagle uses its talons to hunt its prey. The bird was fine. Unfortunately, the same cannot be said for the camera. This drone was supposed to capture a happy moment between a newlywed bride and groom. The couple suffered no injury. Kevin Miller was holidaying in Rhode Island when he took his drone for a flight. As it rose above this 240-foot wind turbine, the camera was about to make an unlikely discovery. Lying on top of the turbine, catching a few rays, was a Benedictine monk. Brother Joseph Byron was only trying to enjoy some peace and solitude, but it just goes to show these days there really is no place to hide from the lens of a portable camera.
I hope you've enjoyed more of our unbelievable moments caught on camera. But unlike in the rest of our stories tonight, sometimes life-changing events are captured that aren't always spontaneous. Indeed, they involve the most meticulous of planning, like our final extraordinary moment, conjured up by Portland actor Isaac Lamb when he went to remarkable lengths to ask his girlfriend Amy Frankel one small but very important question.
I was like at the gym on the treadmill and that Bruno Mars song, Marry You, came on. And the idea just sort of came to me.
The Connor to lure Amy onto the back of a car and set the cameras rolling to film what happened next.
This song really tends to exemplify you and Isaac's relationship. It really does to me. So, here it goes.
Oh my God.
Will you marry me?